What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Phantom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I'm here with Dina, and we are discussing season 8, episode 3 of Outlander. And unfortunately, Michelle is not joining us tonight, but I'm sure she has some things to say about this episode. So we will get her thoughts on the next recording. Okay. So I'm gonna say this. There are some things about this episode I had some issues with.
Okay.
Not bad, not bad. There was just some things going on that I was just kind of like looking, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna have to bring that up. The first thing is, and I think we're all in agreement about this. I need Jamie to get over himself. I'm
Girl.
just I'm it's really getting to the point where he's starting to work my nerves about this whole Lord John thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. That was gonna be one of my main gripes. He definitely, I get it. He holds a grudge. He's a jealous man. I totally understand that. But here's the other thing. Do you honestly think that this woman who thought you were dead and didn't have any hopes of you returning, because literally the people who would know you were dead said you were dead. Do you
Right.
honestly think she would never be with anybody else? I mean, let's just be real. When the first time y'all separated, you had a whole lover, even though you obviously didn't love that lady, but you had a whole lover. You had a whole relationship, because you thought you would never see Claire again.
Yeah.
And so death is a little more final than going through the stone. You know what I mean? And so I kind
Yeah.
of feel like I think it's because it's John.
And I
And
think
that's the
that
thing.
too, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, okay, Jamie, so I understand like the two times that he did, that he had relations while Claire was gone, even though those were not ideal situations, still, he thought in his mind Claire was dead, right? She's 200 years in the future.
Mhm.
He has no way of, I mean, there's no reason for him to think that she would ever come back,
Right.
especially if she thinks that he died at Collide. So you had your one little thing before you went off to Artsmuir, and then you had your one little thing with Geneva, which again, neither situation was ideal. Neither situation was even your plan. You know what I'm saying? So I get it, but still, it's like she doesn't hold that over you.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a whole child
Yeah.
because of one of those dalliances, right?
Oh, let's not forget, you married her arch enemy, even though you did it for a benevolent person. But this lady literally tried to get Claire killed,
Right,
and she
right,
forgave you. I ain't heard her talk about what's her name, Leary. I ain't heard her talk about Leary in 20 years.
right.
So
Except
like,
for when they went to Scotland, and she was just,
right,
I mean, and even then she
right,
was joking with them.
yeah,
If you really want to know who she's sleeping with, all you got, there are other ways for you to find out than going to see him. Like, she let it go. But
yeah,
again, I think the thing with it being Lord John, and I don't know, maybe I don't think Jamie is jealous in the sense that it was about him. You know what I'm saying? But I think also in a small part, it probably is, even though he probably won't acknowledge that. Because like Lord John has been in love with him all this time.
exactly. Like you in love with me, but you gonna sleep with my wife.
Right. Like, oh, you can't have me, but you're gonna have my wife. Like, I'm
Mhm.
sure there's a little bit of a different kind of jealousy there for him, even though he's not attracted to John in that way. But still, that's like a big change up,
Yeah.
you
And then
know?
you think about also like the only time he probably ever consummated anything with a woman or did is when he married the sister of Geneva's sister, and that was for marriage sake. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? He had to pretend. So it's like you don't even like what you're doing. How is it that this is the time you decide you need to do this thing?
Right.
And it's just like,
And
so I
that's the
get
thing.
it,
Like
but it's
Claire
annoying.
has already explained that to him, and
Yeah,
even Lord John explained it to him. Like it wasn't a love thing because you really think that Claire would hop into bed with somebody weeks or months after Jamie is presumed dead. It took her a whole year to get back in bed with Frank, and then after a couple of times, she didn't sleep with him again for 20 years.
yeah,
So it's kind of like I feel like he's overreacting, and I get it. He's a jealous man. He's told her he's a jealous man, but also at the same time, it's not a good look. And I don't really like the way I don't want to say that the show was kind of romanticizing that. I
Right.
don't think that's it. But the fact that, they have this, I don't even want to say a blowout, because really he's the one that's mad. Claire is just kind of like, I'm so over this at this point,
At this
you
point,
know.
right.
But to go from all of that and the whole, every time I think about you with him, I want to possess it comes across very,
1700s.
very
And he's
1700s.
evolved so much from that mindset. So when
But then we
he
still
pitches back
have it. And
in,
then
yeah,
you have Claire kind of, I don't even know if I want to say rewarding it, but it's like her excuse to making him forget is to seduce him and to have sex with him. And I'm just kind of like, y'all, let's not do this. Let's not, I just don't want that to be a normal thing,
yeah, she
and
shouldn't
even
have to
though,
prove her loyalty and love. This woman has gone through the stones to be back with you when she
right,
could have just went on with her life and stayed with her husband.
right. And not
She
only
came
that,
back.
she really could, the first time you tried to send her through the stones, she could have left. She could have left. She decided to stay. So not once, but twice, she came back for you. That should tell you anything,
Yeah,
everything. And she was about to be hung.
yeah,
This man saved her life. And again, Michelle and I talked about this last season. As much as Lord John gives to the Fraser family,
yeah.
Jamie needs to let this go.
Because he treasures his friendship with Jamie. Like Jamie knew what he was about. Jamie didn't. He was like, "Look, I ain't about that, but okay, you just be you, and we can be friends, and we can leave it at that." And he treasures that. John really holds him to a high esteem because he could have done anything. He could have dimed him out. He could have killed him for expressing that, and he didn't. And I know John is grateful. I know John really loved Jamie. Like there's no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from love Jamie. He platonically loves Jamie, and so it's a huge thing for John to have them in there. Like he was willing to marry Brianna when she was in a spot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He is just always there for them, and so my thing is that should definitely override.
And he's raising your kid.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
and yeah, and let's not
raising
forget
your
that.
child. Okay. So yeah, I just at this point, it is old. I need Jamie to get
Yep.
over it because
Yep.
again, like the conversation they had later on when she was reading Frank's book, he was like, "We went to bed fighting about your third husband, and I
You
wake
wait.
up this morning to see you reading a book from your first husband." She was like, "Well, lucky for you, I'm only in love with my second husband." Like, period, point blank. That should be the only important thing at this point.
That's it.
Uh,
That's
yeah,
all.
it just at this point, let it go because it's been at this point, it's been a few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let it go.
Everybody has moved on aside from him,
Right. I mean,
and
the
now
woman
he's
almost died.
right. Yeah. And now
Can
he's
can
letting Frank's book kind of, I think it also has something to do with him reading Frank's book and kind of having Frank like heavily in his life right now. Also, that's probably got him because he also was still hearing Frank talking throughout this episode again, which I'm like, oh my God. I
Okay,
mean,
so here's the other thing, and I didn't even think about this. I happen to, I try to stay away from discussions about the episode until we've discussed it because I don't want anybody else's thoughts to kind of bleed into mine. But I came across something on social media and I saw it and I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. I don't even remember where I saw it. But somebody was saying that what they don't like about the whole voiceover thing with Jamie is how would Jamie know what Frank
what
sounds
he
like?
sounds like. Yeah. Yeah.
And I get it that he's hearing it in, I feel like he's hearing it in Black Jack Randall's voice because of the fact that Black Jack Randall
Looks
looks
like
so
Jamie.
much
Yeah.
like him.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
still,
Frank.
it is one of those things where it's kind of like, yeah, that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. But again, like I said, I feel like yes, he's hearing it in Black Jack's voice, and this just kind of this torturous thing. And then going to the conversation that he and Claire have after that, when they're trying to determine, like, what was the whole purpose of Frank writing this book? Did he mean for Claire to read it when she was alive, or when he was alive? When she was still there, so that she could see. And I don't know if I feel like Frank would be
Eddie.
that cruel.
Yeah, that poor.
Because for him to sit there, write that book and do all of that, and then be like, oh, here, for
Mhm.
her to see that all that time Jamie was alive, Frank knew Jamie was alive, and just it just I mean, it does kind of explain a lot of his behavior towards Claire and how he acted towards her. But at the same time, it's kind of like, dude, you could have had your happily ever after with Sandy. You could have let Claire go, but of course that would have meant losing Brianna, and I know he didn't want to do that. But still, at the same time, Frank, you really had no right. I understand you loved Claire. I understand your love for her never changed, even though hers did. I understand you love Brianna, but even with that, Brianna was not biologically your daughter. If there was a chance for her to go back to meet her dad or to be with her
Yeah.
dad, you could have had, maybe at that point, that's when y'all talked to Brianna and said, okay, look, I know this is a weird situation, but let me tell you about your real father. And then maybe when she got older, let her decide what she wanted to do. I mean, there were so many other ways that that Frank could have handled that. But thinking about what Claire said, it's kind of like now you don't know what's real, you don't know what's not real.
Right.
Is this stuff that Frank actually found out? I mean,
Is
the
that
fact that
history?
Jamie has
Yeah.
already met one of the guys that Frank talks about
Right.
kind of leans towards, okay, Frank knew some stuff. But at the same time, it's kind of like he doesn't mention Claire in the book, of course. He never mentioned any of this to Claire when they were together. Um, and then in the show, they really don't put the information from the books that Frank knew Jamie was alive.
Right.
Because in the books, book spoiler for anybody who probably hasn't heard us talk about this before, in the books, the whole way that Claire finds out that Jamie survived Culloden is because she goes back to the Abbey where she gave birth to Faith. She goes back to that church, and she's in the graveyard, and she sees a grave marker with Jamie's name on it. And she was like, no, not the same Abbey, because that was in France. She was in Scotland. She went to a church, but she saw his grave, and she was like, what the fuck are you doing here? You're supposed to be on Culloden, on Culloden Field. That's how she realized. And then later on, in a letter that between Frank and the Reverend Roger's father, Roger finds out that Frank knew about it because Frank was the one who put the grave marker up.
See, I don't even
So
remember that. That's been so long since I read it. I don't even remember
that was in, I think that they talked about that in Fiery Cross. So you may not have gotten to that yet if you're not at book 5.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Okay. Then that's yeah, because I think I stopped at 4.
Yeah. So it's kind of
4 is when they
like,
went to the Caribbean, right?
no, this was after everything that happened with Claire, and they were getting ready to do Roger and Brianna's actual wedding. This was like a year after the other hand fasting. They were about to do the actual ceremony, and he and Jamie had gone off to the side to talk, and Roger showed him a letter that he
Oh,
had brought with him that Frank and his father had written back and forth, and Frank said something about this grave. But they don't really hint in the show up until this point that Frank knew that Jamie was alive,
right.
you know? So it's kind of like one of those things where, is he saying this stuff just because he wanted to get under Claire's skin? Is he doing it out of bitterness? Because, like Jamie said, Jamie was like, well, would he carry that kind of hate? She was like, wouldn't you? I mean, think about it. You're mad because of a marriage she had with Lord John for, as she said, a few weeks. I think in the book it was actually a few months, but still less than a year, less than half a year. And you are holding this much anger. Imagine your wife goes through some stones. She disappears for 2 years. She comes back. She's pregnant by another man. She's still in love with another man. And I'm sure when Claire told Frank the whole story, I'm sure she also told him that at one point Jamie tried to send her back and she chose to stay. because Claire doesn't, even in this episode, she promised Jamie honesty. She did the same with Frank. Claire never held anything back because she didn't lie.
Right, right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure Frank was in his feelings. I'm sure Frank did a lot of things that were probably very petty, very messy, very cruel. And now it's kind of like, so what? Do we believe what he wrote, or do we try to like? Are we really trying to change history if we don't know for sure this is what happens?
Yeah.
But of
I'm just
course,
glad they discussed it though. Like they had the presence of mind to be like, okay, let's consider these options.
yeah,
Because like obviously we did after we
right,
saw that he got the book and he mentioned him 13, 14 times. We're like, did Frank
yeah,
do something untoward here? So I'm glad
yeah.
they had the presence of mind to discuss that.
Mm-hmm. But also, I think that they were able to do that as well because, I mean, for a lot of reasons, Jamie can't really be mad at Frank. Frank
Yeah.
was there first.
Frank has done nothing wrong. And that in regards to
Yeah,
who should be with Claire and who has,
yeah. And
you know,
Frank was first. Again, reiterating what I said the last time. If it wasn't for Frank and Claire's being married and going on holiday, he wouldn't have Claire to begin with.
it's crazy when you think about though, they only had basically like what 8 days of 8 days of marriage or something like that. And then
Yeah.
she goes off to the Highlands and finds a new man. Oh god.
Yeah.
So technically her and Frank's relationship wasn't even a relationship. Not
No. She
like
was
hers and
probably
Jamie.
technically married to Frank less for a less amount of time than she was to Lord John.
Oh man,
If
that's
you
crazy
think
to think
about
about.
it, she
Oh my
spent
god.
less time with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they probably, who knows how long they were actually like together before that. But engagements and courtships didn't last long back then. For a lot of people, you met, courted, and got married all within a month.
Yeah.
So
And
it could
people
have been
fell
the
in
case
love
with them.
via letter and like Julian and Henry.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-mm.
So, but the other thing about that I actually did like, so the reason why they get into this whole thing about Lord John is because he has written a letter to Claire about Brianna. He wants Brianna to come and paint a portrait of Amaranthus and Trevor. Now, the only thing that kind of bothered me about that is, how does Lord John know that Brianna is there? Because the last time he saw Brianna, she and Roger were getting ready to go to Boston. This was before they went through the Stones.
So how long are they like? How long? What's the time like period? It can't be that long, right? Like for them to
So,
have sent him a letter or something. Like it can't be.
but see, why would they? Because Jamie is not speaking to Lord John.
Right.
William isn't really having anything to do with Jamie at this point. So unless Claire maybe wrote to William and said, "Hey, here's how Fanny is doing. By the way, Brianna is here." But again, at the time that William and Brianna met, he didn't know Brianna was his sister. So Claire probably wouldn't think to say, "Hey, Brianna is back." But also at the same time, she didn't even know that they were in Savannah. So that continuity is kind of weird for me because how does Lord John know that Brianna is back in Fraser's Ridge? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but
That's weird.
so when they're having that conversation and Brianna was like, "So why is Lord John writing to you and not to Die?"
Not to die.
And Claire is like, "Yeah, they're kind of not speaking to each other." "Oh, well, why not?" She said, "Well, because when I thought Jamie was dead, I married him." Brianna's like, "What?" She was like, "Well, I was about to be arrested as a spy, blah, 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 blah." Miranda was like, "Okay,
So
well,
why?
I don't understand why he's mad. It's not like you slept with him." And then when
She gave those
Claire's, Claire
that
was like,
little meme with
yeah,
the
about
monkey,
that.
the little eyes looking to the left, like,
And Brianna was like, "How am I going to look Lord John in the face now? Do I have to call him Dad?" Claire was like, "Don't you do that shit." So,
Look, I'm surprised she said that out loud, to be honest,
because
because
you never know
Jamie
what
could be
Jamie.
anywhere. Yeah, like I don't.
But the thing that I liked about that, but also what made me sad, it makes you realize how isolated Claire is. because the fact that she could only have that conversation with her daughter because she doesn't have any close girlfriends around. She doesn't have anyone else aside from Jamie that she can
Yeah,
confide in. And of course, she can't talk to him about that.
right. But you
So,
also back in them days, you couldn't tell a woman that honestly, because they would judge you. They would judge you. You didn't stay in black and mourn your husband for 7 years,
yeah,
something crazy. You know, like they would
yeah,
have judged her.
yeah. But I mean, it was either get married or die.
Right, right.
Yeah,
I mean, but like still, they didn't care back in the days. Everything was a woman's fault. No matter what it was, it's
I
always,
know, I know.
you know.
But
But yeah, that's that scene had me laughing so hard.
so I like the way that they're doing that because that means that some of the characters from the book have kind of been cut out
Mm,
in order to kind of, I guess, quickly facilitate Brianna's story and William's story because they are going to meet this season. I don't think it's much of a spoiler to say that you can't have William find out that she's his sister and then they not interact for the
ever
first
interact?
season.
Yeah,
So yeah, because I think in the books there was someone else. There was like a British officer's daughter that she was going to do the portrait for, a continental officer daughter. Somebody, it was somebody else. It didn't have to do with Amaranthus and Trevor. But like I said, they're cutting out all the middlemen and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to because I really want to see Brianna and William meet properly. And I want to see how they're going to develop that relationship in the show because in the books, it's starting to develop pretty nicely. And then if you've read what I know you haven't because you haven't gotten that far in the books yet, but Diana Gabaldon, she posts snippets from book 10 and a few of her snippets have involved Brianna and William. And I'm like, if this is what we're getting just in the snippets, I can't wait to read that book because I really want to see that relationship develop. You
yeah,
know, William just got he got to come to terms with the fact that he got more than one family. He just gonna have to get
yeah,
out.
yeah,
But speaking of William, William got a lot going on in this episode too.
yeah. You know what? As much as he get on my nerves sometimes, I feel so bad for him because he really wants his cousin to be still alive,
Mm-hmm.
and it sucks when you have a strong feeling towards something, and then you're telling your people, and your people are like, you're just thinking, you're just, they disregard your feelings or how you think, and I'm not saying that Laura John should just stoke the fire and be like, yeah, keep investigating, but
Yeah.
like, God, he just give him a little support. The man is at least up out of the room. He not drinking. He is
Right.
doing something constructive. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I feel bad for him because I know he clearly loved his cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And he wants answers.
he wants the answers
Yeah.
exactly.
But
Enough to travel the way he's traveled to just to the enemy to get information. Oh,
right. He's like, okay, yeah, I just need to get this information, you know, and the things that he's found as far as like he found different body in Ben's grave. And I understand what Lord John is saying. It's just as likely that Ben was buried in someone else's grave by accident. Like, let's be honest. To the British officers, these are all prisoners, or to the Continental Army, these are all
mhm.
prisoners. They're all British officers. They don't care about them, just like the way this dude who keeps coming up on Jamie's property, he don't care about the enemy. He's just like, oh, okay, y'all British folks, we gonna hang y'all.
Right.
I'm gonna shoot y'all,
No
whatever.
questions.
No questions asked. But I think it's very interesting what he does find you know, when he's bringing the Ben's items to Amaranthus, and Amaranthus has all of Ben's things in the drawer, and he does find a little tin soldier.
Yeah.
And she says, "Yeah, Ben wanted me to give it to the baby when he was, when he was born." I was like, something about that seems weird because here you are, you're going on a raiding party, and you're not expecting to come back.
You're gonna give a toy that a baby literally can't like. He's not gonna be able to play with that toy till he's what, 5 or 6?
And I
Like
don't
it's
even
not
think it's
even.
I don't even know if it's about that. I think he was trying to pass it along because it was a family thing, or it was a like a symbol of brotherhood. Because like even when William is telling Lord John about it, and Lord John is like, okay, so you think he's alive because he didn't take your toy soldier with him? And he was like, no, I knew you wouldn't understand. I think it was more so it symbolizes their bond as cousins and as brothers, because William says that Henry and Ben were like more like brothers to him than cousins.
Yeah.
So I can understand Ben wanting to leave that behind for Trevor, but again, you're assuming that you're not going to come back.
Yeah. I mean, I
And
guess
then
in any case, it's war. You probably always assume that you there's a possibility, I guess. But I don't know. It just felt weird because she just had an answer like right away. Oh yeah, because I don't trust her. So everything she says to me sounds like it's something fabricated. And so I'm
mm,
like, when she said that, I was like, when he was born, he wanted me to give him this toy. And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't.
mm, see, it
But this
all
is what this
depends.
show does.
It
It makes
depends
you
on what way they're going in the show as far as the
okay.
book, because there is something, if you listen to a conversation, if you listen to the conversation that Ben had with William when he gave him the soldier, and then you think about what Amaranthus said, I was like, oh wait, something about that doesn't add up.
All right, I
But
have
I
to
don't
go
want to
back and
say
watch
what
it
it
again.
is because
Right.
then
I'm gonna go back and watch it because yeah, no, I'm gonna go back and
it'll be in spoilery territory.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and look at it then because I'm like, I don't know, this girl just does not settle well with me. I don't know,
And
because
then
it's just this show breeds like people who are untrustworthy as
yeah,
we find out.
yeah, yeah. Especially when you're sitting here mourning, which I get it. It's been almost a year at this point. You're mourning your husband, but then you're kissing his cousin.
Making eyes, making clothes.
And I know Michelle gonna have some things to say about that, because
Um,
she said, I don't want him to fall for her. I want him to find somebody that's his own
his own, yeah,
that he
yeah,
can fall for. So I don't know where that relationship is gonna go, because I think even in the book it's kind of unclear at this point, but there's a lot more stuff that happens that I'm sure they'll get to
um,
in this season. But I did see something on Facebook yesterday. So a lot of times when Diana Gabaldon posts things about the show, sometimes you always get people in her comments coming in talking about how, oh, they've messed the show up. It's not like the books, blah, 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 and certain things, which again, I get if you're a book purist, there's some things about the show that's not going to sit right with you because they've changed some things, they've left some things out, to make the story flow better
right,
on the show. But she did make a comment on a post recently that I saw, because somebody was talking about how they were going to end the show. And she has given an interview that I saw earlier. And she said she thinks that the show ended on a really good note and that the fans would be pleased. Okay. But she also said that they are ending the show with book 9 because she has not given them anything about book 10. Like
right,
there are a couple of pieces here and there that don't have a significant impact on the story, but
right.
she said other than that, they don't have book 10. So they can't include anything from book 10 because they don't have it. So the show has to come up with their own ending,
Right.
which again I'm great, I'm okay with, because I wouldn't want them to get into book 10 story before I've read book 10.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like again, going back to what I said a couple of episodes ago, why would you give the book ending away and the book hasn't come out yet? Because then you're not giving anybody any, well, not anybody, but you're not giving, like, say, the show only people who may be waiting for the show to be over before they start reading the books. If you give them the whole story, what incentive are they going to have to go and read it? You know, I'm gonna go read it because I'm a fan of the books as well as the show, and I know how to separate them too.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I just hmm, it's gonna be interesting to see where they go with William and Amaranthus in the storyline, because I if they're going in the direction I think they're going, it's gonna get very interesting within the next, I would say, episode or two, But then you also have the other stuff that's kind of pulling in. William and John are at this dinner, and William is going to sit next to him. And who comes and sit next to Lord John but Percy, his former stepbrother? And I was like, this dude is mighty bold, grabbing his leg in the middle of lunch with
Yeah.
and Lord John is not subtle at all. He's just like, dude, I mean,
Like they're
weren't you a spy?
on top of each other. So how are they having this conversation? It's literally somebody on the side of him,
I
people in front
know.
of them.
Well, they're having their own conversations, and I'm sure they know how to whisper, but still, it's kind of.
Nosy. I would have been like,
But I don't think so. The conversation that they're having isn't anything that I think would perk anybody's ears up, because Percy comes to Lord John because he's like, hey, I need you to put me in touch with someone. Who? I'm looking to get in touch with a Claudel Fergus Fraser. And Lord John is like, who is that? Oh, well, he was born in a brothel. He was rescued from said brothel by a tall redheaded Scot. And Percy is sitting there looking at John like, I know your type. But he's like, I think they're related. I don't need you to betray your friend. I just need you to get this Claudel Fraser to get in touch with me, because I have something that might be a boon to him. Now, I don't know if you know about what this is about, but I'm going to tell you now, if they do what they do in the books, you're going to be like, what the fuck?
oh yeah, I definitely don't. But we can get spoiled. We can spoil it after we record.
Okay.
I was like, why does he want Fergus? Is he gonna mess with him because he's printing seditious material? Like, what's happening here?
Oh,
This
no,
guy is kind of
no.
skeevy. So I was like, what does he want Fergus for?
It's a little more interesting than that.
Okay. I got some ideas that just popped in my head though. Okay.
I can almost guarantee you anything that you're thinking of, nope. Because when I found out about it, when I heard about it, because I had heard rumors based on one of the short stories, one of her side stories, the novellas, and I was like, Then when I read it in the book, I was like, oh my God. So yeah, it's crazy. We'll talk about it afterwards. But the other thing is, when Percy brings Lord John into this, and he was like, hey, I just need you to do this favor for me. And Lord John is like, okay, you did me a solid by saving William's life,
Right.
telling me about that. So I'll help you. I'm not gonna promise anything, but I will do it. But I still need you to do me a favor.
Still gotta.
And it's that they want to find Captain Richardson, because again, he was a turncoat. He tried to send William to his death. So in addition to all of this stuff that William is dealing with, he also has to deal with the fact that somebody that he trusted tried to have him killed,
Which is so messed up.
which is so messed up. But they're like, Richardson has seemingly disappeared into thin air. We haven't been able to find him. Now, do you recall seeing a Captain Richardson last season?
I don't remember. I'm so bad about remembering certain details.
I'm gonna bring it up because if you look at it closely, and Michelle and I discussed this. So you remember in the 1980s when Brianna was escaping with her children from Lallybrock because Rob Cameron's
Cameron.
friends had it surrounded, and someone was trying to pull her out the van, and she closed the van door, and the guy fell, and he took his mask off. That was Captain Richardson.
Okay, so yeah, and see that's the thing because I'd split up the season and then I didn't finish for a long time and then I had to binge so I could catch up so
Mm-hmm.
I could I
Yeah.
didn't give any like that detail I missed because I hadn't watched the beginning.
Michelle didn't catch it either. The only reason why I even caught it was because of the fact that I had literally just read it in the books,
Okay,
because I had prepped for DragonCon last year,
right.
and I read the last three books like within a 2 week time span. I
I'm
don't even
done.
think it took me 2 weeks, because Written in My Own Heart's Blood, book 8, I literally read that in 24 hours. I did not put that book down.
Oh my god.
So I was familiar with the fact that he was a time traveler as well. They still don't go into a whole bunch with him, but you
Right.
do kind of find out um why he was aiming for William, why he was trying to, threaten William. And it comes into a whole other thing that they may or may not touch upon in this season. So
Right.
I'll leave it alone. But yeah, Richardson probably after doing what he did to William,
Yeah. He was like,
probably
mm.
took a hike and was
Yeah.
like, okay, I need to go regroup. I need to go do something.
Right. Which is
So
crazy. So them thinking that because Jim told Cameron about the gold, that was the only reason, when really sounds like Richardson had a little hand in that.
could could be,
Yeah. Okay.
could be. Because I'm going to assume that at least for the show, because again, they don't really talk about his background and why he's going back and forth, if that's the case.
Right.
I'm going to assume that with the show, if he knew who William was when he sent him to his death, not only just that he's Lord John Grey's son, if he already knows about Brianna and the Scottish gold and
Mm.
has figured out that William is Brianna's brother, that might have had something to do with why he did that as well. But I'm not sure because again, nobody really knows about William's relationship to Jamie and Brianna, but according to the books, he favors Jamie a lot.
Okay.
Like if you put them
Okay.
in the same room together, people figure it out. Like in the book, Fanny figured it out.
Oh
A
wow.
couple other people who have been around them, they kind of figured it out. They were like, "Yeah, it's kind of obvious that that's your
Right.
dad." Yeah. So, so they may do that. It'll be interesting to see how they do it, but yeah. Percy says he's gonna help them find Richardson. I don't know how that's gonna happen.
Well, I mean, he clearly got some somebody that he can
He
he
got some
got some
connections or
hookups,
something.
some something, because
Yeah.
he stayed in the right spaces. How has he not been like out? He always got somebody here. Because what did he say he worked for? And when they saw each
The
other at the
Marquis de
last dinner,
Lafayette. Yeah. And when John was like, "So I take it you're not working for him," he switched back to that French accent so fast. He was like, "Hey, I can be loyal to them or I could not. You'll never know." I was like, you know what? This dude here, John, I tell you, Lord John, he just, I don't know what it is. It's like he he can't never make a safe choice, can he?
well, uh, and,
He can't.
but I will say he was young with this one. It ain't like with
Yeah.
Jamie, you
Yeah.
know. He was
Well,
young.
technically speaking, he was young with Jamie too. He was in his 20s.
Yeah, but wasn't
Yeah,
he like? Didn't him and the stepbrother, like, they were like teenagers, right? Like when that thing
probably
happened.
so.
Yeah.
Probably so. Yeah. And he keeps saying former stepbrother. So I don't know if I can't remember in the books if the relationship happened while they were in the same house or after. I don't remember. But
Right.
not that it not that it matters back then, because I mean people were marrying cousins back then. So stepbrothers is hardly, well, okay, step siblings, let me say. Step siblings would hardly be scandalous. Step brothers is a whole different thing entirely because of the time period.
Right. Right.
But yeah. So I the thing with Fergus is gonna get interesting.
I'm
Um
glad, because I was like, when they bringing Ferguson Marsley back?
yeah, next episode.
Okay.
Yeah, next episode. Did you see the preview for next episode?
So I did, but then I I must have seen him. I think I did see him in the next episode.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, maybe I did. I just,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, that's why I was like, that one might need to be we need to watch it together and do a reaction video, because if they're going the direction that I think they're going, yeah, yeah, we might need to do a reaction video for that. We haven't done a reaction video in a while, so that might be the one. But all right. let's move on because we got to talk about Claire and this birth.
Oh yeah, I paused it on that because I was like, ooh, I was in tears, girl. I was like, oh Lord,
Yeah.
okay. This whole scene was just
So
mm.
Claire is approached by a young black girl while she's out gardening, and the little girl introduces herself. She's looking for the healer because her mom is, pregnant and having some issues. Claire brings the mom and her, I don't know, I can't remember if it was her sister or her midwife, but
She was she was her midwife because she
she
said that
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 she
she's
had,
delivered many
yeah,
babies, but for some reason she can't get this one to work.
yeah. So Claire brings them back to the house. Turns out the lady Savannah is pregnant with twins, and the twins are kind of holding on to each other in the womb, which is why her labor isn't progressing. So then the husband comes looking for them, and he basically is like, I don't trust no white man.
I
I'm
know
not
that's
about to
right.
trust my wife to no white healer. Look,
Mm,
I'm a free man. My wife is a free woman.
yeah,
We're raising our kids free. Y'all not about to get me in trouble.
yeah, I'm
And
not about
Jamie
to
is
mess
like,
me up.
dude, we don't want nothing to do with that. I won't even tell anybody you were here. Just
Right.
let my wife help your wife. So they go through all this. Susanna has the first baby, a little boy. He's healthy. He's okay. The
Yep.
second baby comes and she's breech.
Oh
And
my.
immediately when Claire brings that baby out, you know that there's something wrong.
Yep. No cries.
No
No
cries.
movement.
The look that she gives to Benta, the midwife, it's just all of a sudden you know that there's something wrong. So I was like, okay, this is about to be a faith tie-in. I really felt that at that point. So Claire takes the baby over to the side. She tries to warm the baby up. She tries to give the baby CPR, and Jamie is in the room at that time because he was bringing supplies, and he sees and he tries to tell Claire, "Hey, the baby is gone. There's nothing you can do. Let me have the baby." And Claire's like, "No, I can't." So you start seeing these kind of flashbacks from when she was in childbirth with Faith. You see the bird with the blue light, and you hear her talking about the blue light and Master Raymond and all this other stuff. And they show a close-up of her hand. She has her hand on the baby's chest, and you hear like a faint heartbeat. Now the thing I don't like is they kind of transposed it with Faith, and I was like, Faith was very obviously dead when we saw
Yeah.
her. So they were basically showing Claire's heartbeat. You can see her veins kind of pumping. You can see the veins in her neck pumping. And apparently something happens with her to where this baby starts crying. The baby is actually alive, starts breathing, crying. Jamie takes the baby over, gives it to her mom. They have a conversation afterwards because Jamie was like, "Look, I know that baby ain't supposed to be alive."
Right.
Jamie is sitting there
Baby
thinking,
was
"Okay,
dead.
Claire, I'd have asked you before if you was a witch. You
Right.
told me no. How you bringing babies back from the dead?"
Yeah.
And
Because
Claire,
CPR didn't work. The CPR didn't work.
it
So what
didn't.
did yeah.
Right. What did you do? Because that baby should not be here.
Yeah.
He was like, "Look, I know you're a miracle worker. I've seen you do things that nobody else can do, but there's a little something different."
This is different.
That baby was dead. That
And they
baby
gave it
had
a
no life.
little like vibration or something when you could tell when the whatever that life force was that went back into the baby, you could just
Yeah.
see the vibration of it. I
Yeah.
was just like, oh boy.
Yeah. It was interesting. But then she starts telling him about the only other time she experienced that was when she was, after Faith. She was like, after she was dead, I was dying. Master Raymond came to see me and he put his hands on me, and it's almost like he healed me with just his hands. She was like, I saw a blue light, and it's almost like I felt the sickness leaving my body. I felt the same thing with this too. And of course, in the books, they kind of elaborate on this whole thing a little bit more,
Right.
because also in the books, what we didn't see in the show, when Roger and Buck go back to the 1730s,
Mm.
and they're going to Galis because of whatever's going on with Buck's heart. Um, she's able to help him the first time, but he continues to have heart issues the whole time that they're there. And at one point, she has to call another healer to come and help him. And that healer is Master Raymond. And
Okay.
Master Raymond is able to help him. And there's like something about a blue light that when he touches people, he can heal them.
Right.
Okay. So that's what Claire is speaking of in this, because she keeps saying that there's a, Master Raymond says there's an aura about people and you have a blue light. And
Right.
then they also show us at the beginning of the episode when they do the previously on,
Right.
they went all the way back to season, I don't remember what season was, 4 or 5, when she was speaking with Atawehi. And Atawehi told her that when your hair turns white as the snow, you will come into your full power.
Power. Right.
And something about the power of, I can't remember exactly what her phrasing was, but Claire, she's thinking about that, and then she takes her head wrap off and she asks Jamie what color her hair is, and she has a white streak of hair.
Yeah.
So I was
That's
like,
like a prevalent, like Rogue from X-Men prevalent.
right, right, right.
I
So
was
I
like,
was like,
oh,
okay, so now I feel like they are getting into more of the magic of the story, because you don't see a lot of it in the story. A lot of the story is focused on the real, the tangible. But of course, the stones have to have some kind of magic to them for
right,
them to be able to go back
right,
and forth through time. So I don't know what this is going to be with Claire. Obviously, she has something about her. And, one of the things about Claire when you hear her inner dialogue in the books and she's talking about healing people and her becoming a surgeon,
right.
there's something about the way that she sees bodies, and
Oh,
it's
okay, yeah,
like that she can actually, it's almost as if she can look straight into the body and see what it is that she's doing. She just has that kind of connection.
right.
And of course, I don't know how they would translate that to the show, because it would just seem a little too, I think it would seem a little too,
Too magic-y.
yeah, too hokey pokey, I don't know. But that it's clearly explained in the book. This is one of the reasons why she's one of the best surgeons, is one of the reasons why she can do the things that she can do, because she actually feels connected to the body. Even when Joe Abernathy had what we later find out are Galis's bones, and Claire's like, "Oh, somebody sent you the 150-year-old murder victim," and Joe was like, "How the hell did you know?" She was like, "I don't know, something about her felt like it."
Yeah,
Again,
yeah, I do.
connected. But yeah, so she's got the white streak, so I'm sure that's also about to come into play, because here you are, you're bringing babies back from the dead, you're known to be a good healer, and there's a war about to come. So I have a feeling she's about to be using that blue light, whatever
To
whatever
start
it is she
healing.
got going on.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny because Mayfair, which is the witching hour, came out like the year before Outlander, and that's like Rowan's thing.
Ah,
That's
okay.
the power Rowan has, where she can see a thing happening, and that's how
Oh
she's
yeah,
able,
you're
unfortunately,
right.
to kill people, is because she can see the inner workings of the body. So it's interesting that she wrote this, or where later on, where Claire actually is going to probably have this same kind of gift.
Yeah. Yeah. But okay, so I guess the last thing we need to talk about is this Captain Cunningham dude.
Uh, Bruh, I'm so glad Jamie has a brain because, oh my God.
Listen, listen. First of all, let's start at the top of the episode when these two soldiers are approaching Fanny, because she's clearly a little girl,
A child, a whole child.
a whole child. How are you talking to her like, yeah, you don't look like you belong here. You look like you're kind of an adventurous yourself. Don't you want to come with me in my travels? And she was like, hell to the no.
Absolutely not. Hell.
And
She got a little mouth on her too. I like her.
but you know what? I'm glad she does.
Yes,
I'm
I
glad
like
that
her.
she feels like she can be comfortable enough to say that because she now has people who will protect her.
Mhm.
Because Brianna was about to be like, "Oh, let me go and speak to them." She's like, "Nope, let's just go. Let's just go." Because if Brianna would have went and opened her mouth, it
And you
just
know, she probably was. She probably also was immediately reminded of Jamie, and she didn't want somebody else to die on her behalf. And so she's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, we don't need that."
right.
You know, but it's the fact that Brianna was just like, "I'm gonna handle this." You know, that's her modern attitude because you know, women typically weren't like Jamie, where they would
Mm.
just go do, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But I
but
mean,
yeah, that was
Claire would have been like that too if she had been there. She'd been like,
well, she's
"Excuse
Claire.
me, excuse me."
I need you to back away from this little child.
Right. But when Jamie goes to talk to Cunningham about that, not only about that, but he was like, "Yeah, so you had soldiers coming to visit you?" And his whole thing was, "Oh yeah, they were just bringing me some of my son's effects and blah blah blah." And Jamie was like, "Look, one of the things we like about the Ridge is that the war is far away from here. You said that's what you like too, and I want to keep it that way."
Right.
And you know, Cunningham does a good show of yes, 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 yes. I understand. Yes, da 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 da. But when you that much of a yes man, something's not right.
Yeah.
Something is not right.
And you know, he just gives off a little sneaky weird. And I knew something was
Yeah,
gonna happen, but I just man, come on.
yeah.
What do they think they're gonna do? Take over the back country and that's gonna give them the war? Like, is that what they thought? The British? I don't know. That's
So that probably is what they thought or what they're thinking. And I will say this, you know, Jamie and Claire were gone for what, almost 3 years.
really that's
I think
crazy.
it was almost 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. But when you're gone for that amount of time, and I don't know how often they were corresponding with people on the ridge because you know they kind of had a lot going on while they were
Right,
gone.
right.
But you know, when you're gone for that long, you do allow for other people to come in and kind of take charge,
Take over,
you
yeah.
know. And yeah, you probably do still have your loyal men, your arts mirror men who are there. But as we saw from when they first came back, you know, the first episode, the Ridge has grown quite a bit in their
Mm-hmm,
absence.
mm-hmm.
So everybody is not going to be loyal to Jamie because most of them probably don't even know who he is. You know,
Right,
at least until they came back to the Ridge, he was probably like a mythical figure to them,
right.
you know. But I don't know what Cunningham was thinking because these same two soldiers later on are killed by what was the other guy's name? Henderson?
I
Is it
forgot.
Henderson?
I think it's a C actually, but I
Oh,
can't
okay.
remember.
I don't remember, but
Campbell?
the guy who came to Jamie last weekend was
Yeah.
all
I think it's Campbell.
oh yeah, 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 it might be Campbell. So he kills those two while Jamie is out with Fanny. And he's like, yeah, these two were sneaking guns onto your, you know, onto your property. If you gonna be a punk and not, you know, regulate stuff, then I'll take care of it. He was like,
I think
you just in time to help me string them up. And Jamie's like, no, we're not doing that. I told you I would handle what's going on my land. But I hate to say it, you know,
they weren't wrong.
he wasn't wrong. And Jamie, I think Jamie is gonna have to let some of this pride go
Yeah. But
because
also
he does
not
not
even
have
just
the sway that he had
right. Yeah.
before he left.
Yeah. And not only that, but like even if you don't want to be cruel and hang people, you need to like announce like, hey, I know some of y'all have come since we've been gone, but I need to reiterate that this is my land and this is how I want things to go because it is clear that they have moved on. They done moved Cunningham in. He got a whole store, a trading post. Like
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff has changed. And then these guys are like, I'm gonna take these weapons. So they're like, fine, if you don't want to string them up, but I'm taking these weapons. Like everybody got their own agenda. You don't have any power right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's gonna get off your land right now, but that don't mean later that he's gonna be willing to get off your land, you know?
Right. Especially
Um,
he got a whole crate of weapons
a
now.
whole crate of weapons, which is something that Brianna and them were just, well, that's we didn't talk about
I
that,
was
but that's
just
something
about to say that
that
too.
Brianna and them was just telling you we need to figure out how to get weapons, and here they are. And yeah.
Yeah. But he's gonna have to reconsider that now because
Yeah.
that whole conversation about Lord John, Brianna's like, yeah, we can go to Savannah. And if Daddy's book is really talking about war is gonna come to the back country, we're gonna need guns. We're gonna have to go to Savannah. And he's like, well, how you gonna pay for it? How you gonna even get there?
Because
And
we
she's
got
like, well, we'll be
gold.
guests of Lord John. So how you gonna pay for it? Well, we can use the gold. You know, she said we were almost killed for it. We might as
Right.
well use it to protect
And like,
us.
what are y'all doing with it?
It's
You
just
know?
sitting in a cave right now.
Yeah, what are y'all doing with it?
Right. And I mean, I think this is really going to make him reconsider that because, again, somebody who is probably going to become an enemy to you because you're not going to team up with them. The guy already came onto your property, made his choices very clear, and
Right.
he's not the type of person that you break bread with.
Right.
So you've already made an enemy. That enemy just rode off with a whole cart of guns that were supposed to
But
go to somebody else living on your land.
after doing something that you told him expressly, you don't, that's not what you want on your land.
Right.
So he gives zero fucks right now.
Zero fucks. Right. So yeah, Jamin's gonna have to change his mind about a lot of stuff because as much as he wants to stay out of war, as much as he wants to say, I'm not going to have any part of this, obviously he is. And Frank's book also tells him, yeah,
Yep.
you're going to be a big part of this.
Yep.
He just might as well look, take the information that you've been given
And plan.
and start preparing.
Yeah.
Granted, you don't have
no
to prepare to
reason.
die because you can still fight that.
Right.
But still, you need to start preparing because obviously this is not going to be as peaceful a retirement as you want it to be.
Yeah. And then he gets there and realizes, because he searches the guys and he realizes there's a missive in his boot. And so now you find out a whole nother thing that is going on. And so you're like, okay, let's go check out Cunningham again because I feel like he done lied to me. Well, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. And that right
Yep.
there, I was like, okay, Jamie, I'm glad you went and got educated when you was young, and so you really do have a good brain,
Well, I
and
mean, also think about it.
espionage.
This is the kind of stuff he was doing in Paris.
Right. So
So he knows what to look for. And I think part of that was him, like, he had misgivings about Cunningham, but I think Jamie has gotten to that point in life where he's trying to think better of people.
right.
But Cunningham just proved to you need to stick to your instincts. And I hate to say it. Y'all keep fucking around. Y'all about to bring Red Jamie back out. And that ain't what you want.
Let's go.
That ain't
I
what
mean,
you
he need
want.
to come out, honestly, because you got people to protect.
Yeah.
He need to come out because and just based on what I saw, the parts, because I sparsely remember what the trailer for next week, and
Mm-hmm.
just based on what I saw, I'm like, bro, you need to come out swinging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yep.
yeah, I mean, like when he initially got like weirded out about him being a British officer or captain or whatever, that that right there should have stayed. Like, no, he should have never put his guard down.
Yeah.
He should have been on him for for that time on. He should have been watching his every move.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So,
But I think the other thing is that most men don't have the code of honor that Jamie has. Because
right.
even last week's episode when they held Lodge, he was basically like, look, we're gonna leave politics out of this.
Right.
We are here as brothers. We're going to be supportive of each other, blah, 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 blah. Other people aren't thinking that way.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay, so this is how he's thinking. Okay, I can take advantage of that.
Right. And I do
Because
wonder because after he caught Cunningham doing his thing, he did mention, like you said, that people on the ridge, they don't really know you,
mm-hmm.
the ones that are there now. And I do wonder, like, how many of those citizens are loyalists, and they just don't know at this point.
Yeah.
Like, whose majority of them are loyalists,
Yeah.
which is scary because they could just burn your house down while you sleep.
Right. Right. They could try,
Yeah,
but Jamie ain't no fool. He may have gotten a little, I won't even say gotten a little soft hearted, but he's a little more mellow. But like I said, they about to bring that beast out,
yeah, which would be great.
especially because not only do you have Claire to protect, Brianna and Roger are back with their kids.
With the
Now you
kids, yep,
have Fanny.
Annie.
Um, I don't know what's going to happen with this new family that they introduced in this episode, but at some point, Agnes comes to live with them in the book.
Okay.
Um, so it's just I don't know. He has a lot of people he has to protect.
Yeah.
So now you are threatening that. And not only are you threatening that, you are lying to me
Yeah. Yeah.
about it.
And you
And what
don't feel any remorse because
right.
you're
And one
telling the
thing
genuine.
we know, Jamie don't like a liar.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then, so what I did wonder is he did say to Jamie, he was like, because Jamie had brought up the fact, like you said, you retired, blah, 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 whatever. And he's like, yeah. But then some stuff happened that made him want to come out of retirement. I'm like, yeah, I kind of feel like you never intended on retiring, that it was never about retiring. And I, instead of saying, somebody, basically came to you and you had no choice but to like
Yeah.
respond, like just
Yeah.
be honest. You was out here in these streets about to
Mm-hmm.
try to take over the back country. That's
Yeah.
what you was doing.
Probably. Yep. And Jamie just came in and kind of messed that up. He came
Messed
home
up
and yeah.
because you didn't know that she would eventually. I mean, he would eventually return.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
So next couple of episodes is about to be interesting because we've got 7 left. That's a lot of stuff you got to cover if we're gonna do this war in the backcountry.
Yeah.
Whatever this thing is with Fergus, whatever this mystery is with Ben. Again, I really feel like all of this stuff is gonna tie together.
All right.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do to tie it all together.
Yeah. I'm very, very excited to know what this Fergus thing is. I have thoughts, but I'm very excited to know what this is about because, you know, Fergus having a secret life on the side somewhere
Mm.
sounds kind of awesome. Oh,
Yay. It'll be interesting though. I think if they do what they do in the books, it'll be very interesting.
I'm like, I should put out my guess and say, okay, I'm just putting it out there what my guess is, but I
Okay,
don't want
what's
to
your
say,
guess? What's your
oh
guess?
God, okay. So he's from France. So I feel like he's got a parent who is some kind of higher up, king, prince, lord, duke, something.
Hmm.
What was the oh my god, the guy who started Duke of Sandringham, was he one of the people in France too? Like, who else was there? I'm
He
trying to
was an English
somebody.
duke though.
Yeah, he was English, but he was over there. Didn't he go to France too? I
Yeah, he was
forget.
back and forth. Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, but I don't know. I don't think it's him. But I'm just trying to think of like anybody we've crossed in the story that could possibly. I feel like it because you know what? I ain't gonna lie. If it's a historical novel, it's always about parentage, like always. So
yeah,
I'm like, okay, that's my guess is that it's about his parentage because obviously he's born in a brothel and blah blah
okay,
blah blah.
yeah,
But
yeah,
so that's my guess, y'all. I ain't spoiling. I don't know. Just go with it. If you agree with me, comment.
yeah. I'm sure we'll probably find out next episode. Especially since Fergus was in the preview. Um, maybe we'll get a little bit more information. But did we talk about everything in this episode?
That's what I'm trying to remember. Like,
I think we got everything. I can't wait to hear what Michelle has to say about this Jamie and Lord John thing, because she's been mad with Jamie for a minute, especially after that fight. She was like, "Okay, you know what, Jamie?
that fight was excessive. The way he beat that man was excessive. I don't care how mad you are. That was bad.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think he beat enemies as bad as he beat John.
yeah."
That's yeah.
But also, he don't really care about the enemies. This was very personal for
Oh
him.
yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I get it. Not only the whole thing about Claire, but also that's technically speaking, that's your best friend.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's your bestie. And
right,
and one of the only people aside from Claire and Ian that you like trust.
right.
You know?
And who has your back?
Right.
Like, can you think of the number of times he could have turned Jamie in as a traitor?
Percy. Yeah.
Or he could have let Jamie go to the colonies with the rest of the Artsmuir men.
Yep.
You know, he was
Especially once he knew his secret and he turned him down.
he's always tried to look out for Jamie. Always. So yeah, I'm gonna need Jamie to get over it. But you have any final thoughts for this episode?
Oh God. I think it was fine. It was good. I am because they did bring up Faith again and this power. I do wonder if that's why they brought it up is because of her new power
Mm,
versus her actually finding out what happens to Faith.
okay.
They're gonna just leave it at that now. Well, this is what brought your power. Now we're just gonna move away from the whole Faith thing, period. Because I kind of feel like they could do that,
Yeah.
you know, because it kind of has a thing where like, okay, but did they say? I feel like her and Jamie talked about like, did he bring the baby back? Master Raymond.
But
Didn't they talk about
see
that?
that to me again, I think that would be highly unlikely because she held Faith for
Right.
an entire day.
Little zombie
She
face.
so I just don't think if it's somewhere within the first few minutes, I feel like there would be a chance. But I
Right.
mean, it's just like when someone has a heart attack and they die and you continue to do
Right.
CPR or whatever. Sometimes they come back, but it's always within a few minutes. You're not going to have somebody be dead for an hour, 2 hours, then all of a sudden they come back on the table. It's just not going to happen. So I don't think they could have done that with Faith. That would be very unrealistic. And again, I think it would push the magical aspect to a whole different thing. And I don't want it to be that,
Yeah. Yeah. Don't
you know?
overly complicate things with more magic.
No.
We need. Yeah.
So
I do
yeah.
wonder how people who have not read the books though, how they feel about her being a magical being in that way.
Well, I mean, they teased it. Out of way he told her when your hair turns white as snow, you will come into your full power.
Yeah.
So it's not like again, it's not like it's beyond the realm of possibility. I mean, they traveled through stones 200
Right.
years
Yeah,
back
but
and
you know how
forth.
people are. There can't be werewolves, but vampires exist. There can't be fairies, but vampires exist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait for next week.
Me either. So yeah, I think we're gonna try to watch that together and do some reactions because if some stuff happens next week, like I think is gonna happen, I need to see your and Michelle's faces. So yeah, so we'll try to get that done, and Michelle should be back with us next week. So for now, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.